Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Wednesday to you all. Happy hump day. So I just got back from getting an oil change and I wanted to chat with you all really quickly. Something that I was thinking about as I was sitting in my truck to get finished. So I wanted to talk to you all about that space between the time in which you see the vision or heard from God and the manifestation. Now, normally I call it the waiting period or the quiet season. And truly that's what it is. Because again, God has so much that he probably needs to do, especially in you. If you have a lot of flaws in your character, he have to do like extensive work, extensive work in you, in us. And many times he have to also work on the other person and other things. So that waiting period is very, very difficult and it's very long. But today I'm calling it that space, because I'm not speaking about the whole overall transition of what everything that I just spoke about, getting your character ready and all that stuff. You may have already mastered that, right? So now you may kind of be more towards the ending of the quiet season and you feel the shift. You feel it in the energy and in the air, like, okay, this manifestation is coming like soon, like real soon. I can feel it. But God is still quiet, right? You know it in the spirit. You know it's coming, but he's still quiet. You're not overwhelmed at this point with all of the areas of transition because you've completed that. You've mastered that. You've gotten your patience together. You've, whatever was that he told you specifically to do for yourself during your waiting period, your quiet season, your transition season, you've done all that. So now it's just like, okay, well, I really don't have anything else left to do. So I think because I've done everything that God has asked me to do. So now you're just sitting there like, okay, all right, God, there's nothing else left I can do. So I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you. And so what happens sometimes during that period of the space, meaning you've completed everything that you know how to do in your own physical fleshly realm, and you know it's coming, but God is still quiet. So you think God is still quiet. And as I always tell people, sometimes when we think God is quiet, he's not. He's working behind the scenes. He's still shifting and setting things up so that it can be in order, and that everything will be in its proper form, right? But again, sometimes when God is quiet, we think he's not moving, so then we start putting our hand into it. And see, that's an open door for the enemy, because once we start to get agitated and we start to try to go ahead of God and put our hands in it, Satan sees now that, okay, you are not as trusting as you think. Oh, you really don't have as much faith as you think. So now I see an open door that now you're becoming a little weary. Now you're starting to think that it's not going to happen. So, let me creep in. Let me start sending distractions. Let me start sending the generic things. So because your faith is shifted, because you're not staying focused on what God has said to you, right? Because you're starting to feel like, oh, was it really God? If he said it, then why is it taking so long? If he said it, then why am I seeing things that could potentially be not better, but potentially be close to what he's promised me? No, you're not settling for potential. You're not settling for a generic brand. You are going to get what it is that God has promised you. You're going to get what it is God has promised you. Will it be easy? No. It's especially when we ask for things on this larger magnitude. You're asking things that the majority of another human being will not ask, because the fear factor is involved, because the lack of confidence is involved. So you're asking higher than the average person. So your fight, your weight, your faith, all that stuff is going to have to be on a different kind of level. Everybody's not asking for what you're asking for and how big you're asking for, right? And as I talk to you, I'm talking to myself. Trust me, I always tell you guys, when I talk, I'm moving in spirit, but trust me, I'm highlighting my own notes because it's for me as well. And so, again, what will happen is you will start to like one day you'll find yourself like you're standing in God's truth. Like, listen, I'm not about to even, Satan, you can't even get at my ear. I know what God has said to me. I'm standing in my truth. I will not bend. I will not fold. Like one day you will have that confidence at 100% max. And then the next day or two, it might be 80% max. It might be like, okay, God, like, where are you? Okay, God. Now, all these different opportunities are coming to me, and I'm almost afraid to turn it down, because what happens if you don't come through? Then I'm going to miss both opportunities. So I'm waiting on what you showed me, but you haven't brought it to me yet. But I have 5 other options that they're close to it, but they're not what you showed me. This is where you're going to be tested. He's waiting to see if are you going to really buckle? Are you going to fold? Are you going to get tempted into accepting the generic, even though he have told you clearly what's yours, what you can do, and what he's going to do? So if you can't even prove to him that you trust him 100%, how can he trust you with the thing that you're asking for? If you're folding before you even got it, you're going to fold when you get it. So this is about building your stamina. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's hard. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainties, but that is when you got to go back to focus, like tunnel vision. Focus on what he has told you. Because once you focus on what he said and you're like tunnel vision on that thing, that's the thing that's going to keep you going. That's why in this time, you got to be very careful about the people that's pulling from you, including family and friends. People that may be calling you with drama and nonsense that has nothing to do with anything uplifting, anything that's pouring into you, anything that's going to motivate you on what it is you're doing. This is the time you got to stop answering your phones. This is the time, if you answer and they start with, shut them off. Listen, I got to go. I have to call you back. Don't be rude, but I got to go. I got to call you back. You got to be tunnel vision. The only people you really need around you is people who are going to motivate you and inspire you, and not to even say they know 100% what's going on. Because again, I believe certain things need to be 100% you need to be quiet about until it manifests. But my point is, if you got people around you with great energy and great faith, then that will literally just, inspire you to keep moving forward. But please, whatever you do not take the generic brand. I know you're tired. I know you're weary. I know you're starting to feel like, I got to take this because it's too much of a risk. There's no risk in God. There's no risk in God. Shut that generic thing down. I know it may sound confusing because Satan is so tricky that sometimes the generic thing can look just like or similar to the thing that God has shown you. But guess what? It will only look similar in the fleshly eyes. In the spirit realm, you're going to have that little thing down in the inside to let you know that is not what I've shown you, child. You know that's not what I've shown you. You're getting tired. You're not trusting me. You're not believing me. So since you're not trusting me, I'm going to pull back a little bit more, right? I can give it to you today. But because your trust and your faith is shifting on me right now, that tells me you're still not at a point where you can trust me 100%. So let me pull back, and I'm going to watch you a little bit longer. When you prove to me that you're not shifty, then you've proved to me that you can handle what you've asked for. But if you're shifty now, I got to build you some more. So sometimes it's us ourselves who push that blessing back. And it's a process. Don't judge yourself. We all go through it. You just got to keep building that stamina. You just got to keep, if you fall, get back up. You're going to have a day where you fall in your faith. You're going to be like, okay, I'm just over it. I'm over it. It's just too hard. No one else have to go through this. It's not even worth it. You're probably going to have a day like that. Well, it shouldn't be a day, maybe a moment. You're going to have a moment like that. And then you just got to say, Lord, I apologize. Please forgive me, but this thing is hard. It's going to be hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would have it. So just wanted to encourage you guys. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.